Welcome to my review for Dragon Ball Super Superhero, which just released in North America. And if you've been following the channel, you know that I've been covering this movie for over a year now, all the updates I could give out, and you would know that I am very hyped for this movie. And did this movie live up to the expectations that I had? And I'll let you know right now, it certainly did. How's it going, everyone? Saying so, I'm bringing you another Dragon Ball Super Superhero video today. And as I said, welcome to my review for Dragon Ball Super Superhero, written by Akira Toriyama himself. And before I continue, be sure to hit the like button for this video, subscribe if you haven't already, and hit the notification bell whenever I upload new videos like this, talking about, of course, Dragon Ball. Now, this movie does take place in the canon timeline, which is a very controversial word in the Dragon Ball community, of the franchise. It takes place right after Broly and right after the current manga arc, which just ended, which is the Granola Survivor arc. And of course, it takes place right before the end of Z. We get the confirmation when it's revealed that Pan is 3 years old, and of course, at the end of Z, she is 5, so that does make sense. Now, one of the biggest polarizing things in this movie is, of course, when it was revealed that this will be a 3D, 2D movie. Now, of course, when we all saw it at first, it did look a little funky, but when it is put into motion in the big screen, it looks great. Now, not everything looks phenomenal. There are some parts of the movie where it does look like a PS2, PS3 model moving, where you can see it being in a Xenoverse game rather than an actual Dragon Ball movie, but that is very rare. Everything else looks phenomenal, especially when they take advantage of what shots they're able to recreate only by using the 3D camera aspect. They did a great job on that. And believe it or not the entire time the movie was in 3D, 2D. There are some 2D aspects that was in the movie, especially in the beginning, and some parts in between of the movie, but that is in and there, not every time, but every about like 15 or 20 minutes. But that, of course, depends on a callback of the original series. Now, if you were to watch Dragon Ball Super Broly before watching this movie and going to Dragon Ball Superhero afterwards, there'll be some contrast differences, and you'll be like, "What? How did this all happen?" But hopefully, it won't take you out too much. But you do get settled in of the 3D, 2D model, and it does flow really well, especially during the action scenes of this movie. Speaking of action, there was action. There was a good amount of action in the movie, and I did like how they implement the 3D animation style into the fight scenes, especially the way that characters are able to move other characters around, where I think 3D really makes it prominent and really flows super well. But it was not all comedy. Now, of course, if you know, this is by Akira Toriyama. He is a gag manga artist, so of course there will have to be a lot of humor. Now, from comparing from the last movie, this movie has way more laughs, way more comedy material, and it is a good change of pace from what Broly was, which is mostly action. And I believe that Superhero has a good mix of action and comedy, but I would say this has more comedy than action, but not by much. I would say that they did balance the comedy and action really well, where not one aspect overshadows the other. But after talking to certain people after watching the movie, they did say there was more laughs, but they didn't really mind it. But they did wish there was a little bit more action, but for me, I think it was right, especially coming off from Broly, which had nothing but action after the half-hour mark of the movie, especially when those comedy aspects are coming from Piccolo and Pan. Those are one of three of the big stars of the movie. Speaking of which, this is basically a Piccolo-centric movie, and Gohan is the main star as well, but as Toriyama written or wanted it to be, this was supposed to be a Piccolo-centric movie where it's just Piccolo, but they did add Gohan towards the middle of the process of writing this movie. But I would like to see a Piccolo solo movie after watching this one, but as I said, Piccolo was the main star of the show. He was phenomenal, great aspects, great character growth for him in terms of just not himself, but power, and they do give you information of his past, of how he was Kami and how he was the god of the earth, and even his original incarnation of Demon King Piccolo. I just love that callback when they said that. He's the integral part of the story where he connects to everyone that is in the movie, whether they're minor, that just appear for a scene. But Piccolo has a relation with everyone in this movie, and their scenes with everyone is just flawless. It connects really well, really great pace for this character, and eventually leading out for Gohan's big moment. And Gohan is a big part of this movie. Of course, Piccolo talking about how Gohan was the strongest character in this whole franchise up until the Buu saga, where he was not anymore. And this movie is basically trying to have Piccolo like push Gohan to where he was, so he can finally release his potential and being the warrior that he can be when he wants to, at least. And Pan helps up with that as well. And with Gohan, he doesn't really train anymore because, as we all know, he became a scholar, and now we see how he does. We do get a little bit of insight of his actual work and what he actually does study, but we do see that Gohan does put his work more focused on that than he does in his family, which, as Scott, in real life, you do tend to do that sometimes, but it comes to the point where Piccolo points out to Gohan that you're doing this too much, and then he needs to spend more time with his own family than just relying on Piccolo himself, which comes in rewards of a plushie doll, which I found hilarious when he did that. But I was surprised they did not name it in the Japanese, and they just called it a plushie. I was very disappointed by that, but that was just like a minor nitpick that I'm saying right now. And this just shows Gohan's rise to prominence, where he was back in the Cell Saga, trying to get him up to the main stage once again. And I think they did a pretty phenomenal job, especially with the reaction of the movie theater I went to, which was not empty, by the way. It had a good amount of people, not sold out, but it was pretty much close to it. And if you're a fan of Piccolo Gohan, you'll be very pleased and very, very happy with the outcome. And the other side of the movie, Pan, I just loved a lot. She was phenomenal, and she reminded me a lot of my niece, especially the way of the dub actress played and portrayed her voice, with the way she sounded, the way the mannerisms, everything, and the way that Toriyama writes, and how the animation staff. It reminds me a lot of my niece, and it just made me really feel good. And by the end of the movie, it made me a Pan fan. It did, and I'm really happy about that. And I do hope that there is more work for this character, Pan. And maybe it's just me being an uncle and seeing how much she reminds me of my niece. It makes me like even more heartfelt of how amazing Pan is, especially how cute and how of a badass that she is sometimes in this movie, where her petite, small, she's not even taller, so how like small she is, it's just throwing people off guard of how powerful and how strong Pan actually is in this movie. And I did like how they show how amazing Pan is, especially in her fighting process, which is not prominently shown a lot, but it does show a little bit. Now, I'm gonna say this right now, I'll be going to spoiler territory in this movie. I'm going full out right now, so if you do not want to know what's gonna happen in here, click away from the video and come back once you're done watching this movie if you have not done so already. So here we go, in 3, 2, 1, spoiler territory time. So Piccolo getting his new transformations and his power up was great, especially when he had Bulma gather all the balls and summon Shenron, where he just used one wish from himself to get just a power up, which was potential unleash for Piccolo, and Shenron added him a little bit something extra, which is the Orange Piccolo form, which he named himself, which is basically Toriyama speaking through the audience, saying that he just wanted to name it because it's just like that, at least. And the comedy aspect of Bulma and her cosmetic surgery of through the Dragon Balls, which was phenomenal and great. And Piccolo knowing that they needed to defeat the main real villain in this movie, which is Cell Max, where Piccolo literally put his body on line against Cell Max, where he got himself beat up so Gohan can finally unleash his hidden beast, which is ironically called Gohan Beast, when Gohan transforms into his new transformation, which is, as I just said, Gohan Beast. It was phenomenal. I just loved how like the reaction of the theater I was in, was amazed by it, and he had this like cold demeanor of himself, especially that smile when he transformed. And I was a little bit disappointed that he did not fight as much. There was a little bit similar to how Gogeta fought just very little in the Fusion movie. That's what I compared it to. But I did wish that Gohan did fought a lot longer in his beast transformation form, but that's possibly left out for the next movie for him to actually go out and do that. Also, I really love Gamma 1 and Gamma 2, but I definitely love Gamma 2 a lot. So when he came from the atmosphere and cut off Cell Max's arm, I was distraught of that he actually died from it, where he turned to dust literally. So that made me sad, but it is nice to know that Gamma 1 and Dr. Heddle will be working for Capsule Corp, and I do have a hint that Heddle's skin treatments will connect to Bulma's look for the end of Z. I'm having a theory about that right now. I might make a video about that, so stay tuned for that if you have. Also, I love how like the connection of the Red Ribbon Army with Magenta trying to recruit Heddle for him to make the new androids, and how Hano didn't really care about his grandfather, which is Dr. Garo, and they made the character likable at the end, even though he had good intentions. He was like one of those like quirky scientists where like in Sheldon in The Big Bang Theory didn't really work well with others, but he was not a bad person. He was just like very deviant with the way he carries things and do things. But he is likable at the end of the movie. Also, I like the supporting cast, especially with Bulma, and I like how Goten and Trunks came in and they're finally in their team forms where they actually grow up. And we did see Gotenks with the fusion failed form, unfortunately, and it did make me mad that they did fuse one more time, but they actually did a perfect fusion dance, and we did not see the perfect fusion Gotenks form, which made me so mad. Come on, guys, why did you tease us like that? And I'll leave it on the last note right here about, of course, the two main characters from this series, Goku and Vegeta, are not prominent role in this movie. I did think they weren't going to be as much as they did, but they were. Well, it was nice to see them trying to enhance their powers so they can be on the same level as Jiren, as I would think that Jiren is still powerful than Frieza. If you read the most recent chapter, that may not look like that, but who knows, that might be like that. But it was also good to see Broly there again, where they're trying to get Broly under control so he can actually use his latent power and have some control over it, so he can actually spar and get better and get stronger himself. And it was really nice to see Lemon and Chilai, the two supporting stars from the last movie, getting some shine right there, as Beerus and Whis right there. And also, this is the one thing I was disappointed about of the movie, is that Whis' character model in this movie did not look good. He just looked out of place compared to everyone else. I did wish they worked more on that, but maybe that's because of how the character is designed. Maybe Whis wasn't designed for a 3D, 2D aspect, but I would hope that in the next movie they do improve on that for Whis. And I did like at the end of the after credit scene where Goku and Vegeta fought out and Vegeta finally defeats Goku, and we saw Broly and Lemon crying tears of joy because of how amazing the fight was, even though Beerus fell asleep and Chilai found it boring, but Whis also found it entertaining, so that was good to see. So hopefully in the next movie we get to see Broly, Goku, and Vegeta join Gohan and the others, and Piccolo and Gotenks possibly, and taking out a new evil. Hopefully it's not Frieza, but depending on how the next arc goes, we shall see about that. Anyways, guys, that is the end of this video. That's the end of the video right here. Be sure to tell me down in the comments below, what do you think about this movie? Did you enjoy it? Did you love it? Is it as hype as you wish it was? Was there anything that you wish was better? Was the 3D animation bothering, or did you think it was fine as it was? Let me know down in the comments below, and tell me what you think of what you think is going to be the next movie. Anyways, guys, thank you for watching this video. Be sure to hit the like button for this video. Subscribe if you haven't already, and hit the notification bell whenever I upload movies like this, and of course, Dragon Ball. This is Saiyan Survive, sign out. I'll see you guys later. Catch you guys in the next video. Have a great day. Bye.